Before we get to the rookies, Jerry Burns passed away. I know you worked with him for a number of years. Just any thoughts on him and the coach he was and what he meant to you?
Yeah, we've been communicating a little with some of our friends back there about Burnsy passing. Um, the people that didn't have a chance to know Jerry Burns, you really missed something. This guy was an extraordinary uh, guy to be around. Incredible football coach. Had a just masterful mind about offensive football. I know Bud just always just held him in such high regard. From the time he was a young man, Bud grabbed him. They worked together for years and years and years. And what you may know if you paid much attention to what's going on in Minnesota is one of the most colorful people that you've ever seen was Jerry Burns. Character, sense of humor, brilliance. I mean, he was just a light to all of us. And so his passing, Burnsy lived a long life, and he competed his butt off. He'd be the first one to tell you that it was hard. It was tough. But so to Marlon and the kids and the whole crew back there, our hearts are open to, just sending the love and all, and we're going to miss him. But he was a fantastic guy and so much fun. Burnsy said if he ever wrote a book, he'd go back and tell the story that when we were in the strike week way back then, that we went home on a Wednesday night. We were going to play our first strike game, and he had to make one of the toughest decisions of his life. And that's whether or not he was going to let me play quarterback in the strike game that weekend. And he asked Bob Schnelker the next morning, can you coach Pete? And he said, there's no way I can coach Pete. So he said, sorry, kid, you don't get to play quarterback in the NFL. So that was my big chance. But I trusted in Burns. He made the right decision back then, and because that's all he ever did is do things right. So we love Jerry Burns. We're going to miss the heck out of him.
Corbin.
Hey, Pete, first off, I wanted to make sure you're doing okay after getting ran over by Cody Thompson out there on the field.
No, I went for the forced fumble there. Didn't you see that? I was getting the ball out.
I did, yeah.
Ball came out. I didn't come up with it, though. I think maybe a couple years back I'd have come up with that ball, but Cody did a better job of scrambling for it.
I asked you about this during the season last year. You guys played a lot of those bear fronts with a couple of three techs and the overhang defenders. How important at that Sam linebacker spot in those fronts is it to have a player like Darrell Taylor that has a little more size and has the ability to cut his teeth as a pass rusher?
Yeah, it's a real big part of the scheme, and it's an important part of the scheme. You want to have the threat of those guys on the edge really being a factor. Just in the first couple days, Darrell looks very much the part. I know. Coming off the field today, Clint was real fired up about getting a chance to work him in his pass rush drills and all, and we really haven't seen much of him. We got 1 week, and we just kind of babied him through his first week when we got him out here. So this is the first couple of practices we've had. It is really important to the scheme. He does have the kind of makeup that fits it well. So at this point, he's going to get a heck of a shot to show us what he can do there.
Curtis.
Yeah, Pete, how is it seeing Dwayne Eskridge's speed kind of on display out there with a couple times he got behind the defense for you today?
Yeah, there's no question that he's a flyer. He showed it right out of the chutes yesterday. His quickness, and he's a very powerful guy. He's about 191 or 2 pounds, but he's built really strong and built really solid, and you can see the explosiveness. Gets off the line of scrimmage really quickly, and certainly has the burst. So that was really fun to see. It's what we were hoping to see, and so we're pleased with the first showing.
What has stood out to you about him the first couple of days, seeing him in person, getting your eyes
on? Probably more than anything, his attitude. He's got a chip on his shoulder. He wants to be. He's going to prove it that he belongs. That's probably as valuable as anything he could have and bring to this, to our club. He's talented. You can see it already that he's quick and explosive. He's caught the ball well. Also got good strong hands. So he's made nothing but good impressions so far. But I'm really fired up about his attitude because he's here to prove something, and that always brings out the best in guys.
Michael Sean.
Hey, Pete, what exactly is holding Cade out of practices?
What is his injury? Is it? I'm not sure what his injury is. To tell you the truth, I don't remember which one it is. But he's got something that's been bothering him. It's just not quite right. He's dying to practice. Our guys just didn't want to rush it. So I would think that by the middle of next week he'll be involved in what's going on. I can't remember what it is. Do we have his injury? Cade? Okay, sorry. We'll get that to you.
Oh, that's all right. What about Terry?
He hit the ground. He hit the ground yesterday. Got a little bit of a hip pointer, so we just got to take it easy on him. Remember, he went for the ball down the corner of the end zone down there, and he landed on his backside. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
Greg?
Hi, Pete. It looks like it's even lower tempo than in past years. I know the bigger picture of the NFL trying to get a little away from tempo and OTAs and minicamps. What exactly are you getting out of evaluation or knowing mode and what they're doing?
Well, we get a ton out of it. The tempo isn't really important at this point. It's really just getting reps. Before we came on the field, we took a bunch of walkthrough reps in here, so these guys got a bunch of looks at plays and things. They just need repetitions. They just need the turns to start to put it together. You can imagine, if you can imagine all of the new language, and it's a heavy burden for them the first couple of days when they want to come out here and run around and show off and all that. It's hard. It slows you down. So our expectations are really just to start the process of teaching what's in the playbooks on both sides of the ball and just start moving. This is not time for us to make big evaluations and try to gauge how it's going to go and all that at all. But it's the start. So fewer numbers this time around. We've had more like in the 50s when we've been here before. We have one deep, on offense and defense with a couple guys that can spell guys. So that's why the tempo we have to take a little more time in between reps and all. So to get guys back and to max it out. But everything went fine. We did all the turns that we needed. The walkthrough was excellent inside before we got out here, and so they have an introduction to what's going to hit next week. Now they're going to, they'll step into the meetings on Monday and they're going to hear a lot of stuff they haven't heard before. And we've installed a ton already on both sides, and our veteran team is moving. So these guys will be in catch-up mode for a while. But good start, really good start. They showed their energy and their love for wanting to be here and make something of this opportunity. That's really all we're hoping for right now. Just get off to a start.
What's the German linebacker, Dunker? Does he look like a project, or what's he look like?
No, he looks very comfortable. He had a couple plays we showed on highlights yesterday, just running and chasing the football. He looks like he fits in, has good speed. So it's a good start. He's played a lot on the end of the line of scrimmage, which he won't do as much for us. He'll be more behind the line of scrimmage, so we need to see how he adapts to that. Oh, a groin. Okay, yeah. We got a groin issue with Kay Johnson.
Joe Fan?
Pete, can you lay out what's left for the offseason program? Is today the last day anyone will be in the building until your mandatory minicamp in June?
No. What happens Monday begins phase 2 for 1 week. It used to be a 3-week, I think, process that we'd go through phase 2. So there'll be 1 week of phase 2 when players can come on a voluntary basis and be on the field with coaches. No offense versus defense. It's mostly drill work and on-air work that's available to us. What we'll do next week is we'll practice with our young guys. We'll have 30-something guys plus whoever else wants to come out to take part in similar type of drills that we just did. We won't be able to go against each other next week. The week after that, then offense and defense will be able to go face off. So we'll get a little bit more. It'll be partially like it was this week, and then 2 weeks from now we'll step it up. So guys, everybody can be in the building and be on the field and work out in groups and all that kind of stuff. There's some new guidelines, but that's when phase 3 kicks in 2 weeks from now.
Okay, so the rookies are here for the duration
yes.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're working with those guys.
Got it. Then one off topic, but didn't get a chance to ask you before the draft, but with limited resources, cap space wise, going into free agency, was there any thought or consideration to restructuring Russ or Bobby?
As always, we have all of the options available to us. We've talked about all of that as we do every year. What are our possibilities? Where do we need to go? What do we need to do if we get to certain levels of need, for the staying in compliance and all of the, for the money that we need to come up with, for other contracts. We've done all of that. So know that we've done we've looked at every single option that's out there, and even to the point where those guys know we've discussed that too. So it just hasn't been necessary at this point.
Brady?
Hi, Pete. We haven't got a chance to ask you about DK, and what did you think of his the track event that he took part in?
I thought it was a marvelous challenge that he took on, and DK is a very special individual, and it would take a special person to even think about doing that, even consider the thought of doing that. Right from the first moment, I had heard about it when he mentioned it to me quite a while back. I just thought it was like an ultimate competitor looking for a chance to battle, and where he had an opportunity, and so unusual to even think about it, but to go through the process, work out to get in preparation for it, that he knew was going to be important for him. His speed is so important to his whole makeup of his play. He couldn't do more to work on his speed than what he just did. So I saw it as a competition, a competitive guy, went after it, figured out how to pull it all together, and then he gets there and he looks marvelous. I mean, he looked awesome. The whole family was sitting around watching it on the on the iPad, and we were all just huddled around just to see what was going to happen and would he be able to pull it off. We were cheering for him, and I might have said to you guys, within 5 minutes, the grandkids and I were out there setting up the cones, and we're doing races out in the driveway, just like DK. And so I think. And the way he handled it with grace and respect for those marvelous athletes that he competed against, his ability to hold up his end of it, and shoot, he's in the pack there, and that's the first time he's ever finished 100 in a competitive situation like that ever, so you give him a couple tries, he might have been a little bit better, so 10.36 is a great time. He was right there with them, and but most of all, I think it's his vision to see the challenge, go after it, and then pull it off, and then also be very humble and respectful about it, so I was really, really proud of him.
And just to clarify, one question about the veteran players: are they? We know they're not taking part in voluntary on-field work. Are they taking part in virtual stuff, virtual meetings right now?
Yes, and we'll continue to. We have we're going 2 hours a day with our guys. We're deep into our football already, very much like it was last year. We're better at it than we were last year, and the communication and our the exchange of the information is really at a high level, and we're doing great. So know that our guys are working out all over the country. They're all over the place. We don't have very many guys living in town, but they're working out all over the country, and they're still making progress towards putting together a great season for us. So we'll see what happens as we move forward. I'm hoping that the guys that are here, we've opened up the facility to them, letting them know that it's like an open gym, that they can use it anytime they want to. We have the guys that are in town work out together at a couple local places. So we have everybody's working hard. So we're making good progress.
Jackie?
Thank you.
Hey, Coach, what have you seen from Trey Brown these last couple days?
I need to see the film of today. I didn't get to see much today. Yesterday, he did a really nice job of being demonstrating that he understands how the game works. In that he stayed on top on everything. He was in the right spots. He looked very comfortable. He looked very fast. He looked very speedy out there. Staying with everybody that we ran at him. I'm anxious to see today because we just gave him some more looks and some more things to do. But he looks like he's going to be a real competitive player. And he made a couple plays out here today that did catch my eye. He's very, very bursty and looks like he's going to take his shots and be an aggressive corner. And that's what he showed in college, and he showed it out here in the couple spots I saw today. I'll know more tomorrow.
Art?
Pete, vaccine question. This is something you didn't have to worry about during your season last year, but baseball now is dealing with a problem of not getting all of their players vaccinated because it's a personal choice. We all understand that. But the talk is now about a competitive disadvantage this is creating when you can't play all your players. And even though there were quarantine issues that you guys, all of the NFL had to deal with, what's been the discussion that you've had either in-house or with the NFL as the season approaches about the competitive disadvantages and advantages that may accrue if players don't want to get vaccinated?
Well, I'm not sure yet how you're seeing that as a competitive advantage, disadvantage, because right now nobody has been restricted from, as we look at in the conversation, nobody's restricted because of their decision whether to be vaccinated or not. we're encouraging everyone to get vaccinated. We're going along with the science. The league is doing that as well, and we hope that that it makes sense to the people and they take care of business in that regard. But if it's not mandatory, and if it isn't, then people get a chance to make their own choice. And so we try to inform everybody as best we can, and we've already taken strides to do that, and we'll continue to do that. I think that there's a big shift that just happened in the last couple of days that's been unsettling to people, particularly people that their ire is up, about being put up against it because it's been difficult and challenging and all of that. Now, why now we can take our masks off? Well, it's just taken this long for everybody. In my opinion, it's taken this long for us to get the opinions and the information and the studies done, and we're going to continue to get information and continue to know more. And we don't have all the answers. And the league doesn't have it. We don't have it, and the country's still working hard to figure stuff out. But we're doing the best we can, and in that, we'll know more as we get closer to the season. But I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to be mandated in such a way that's going to make it less of a competitive situation. And you might have something specific that you want to ask about that, but I think it's still early in the process to me. It's still early in the process. Guys still figuring it out. I know that if there's one thing that's kind of common, our guys would like to just have more information, and they wish they had more time to gain more information. And that's kind of the most common theme that goes through our guys, and I can understand that.
I guess what I was talking about is players who are on the active roster who are not vaccinated, they get infected and they have to remove themselves, or the club removes them from playing and have to go in quarantine. And if you get a breakout like that on a team, that's a competitive disadvantage for that team.
Okay, well, think about this. I can't imagine us being a whole lot different than what we did last year in terms of keeping everybody safe, vaccinated or not. There's a whole approach to how you do this to avoid that, and we're not going to stop doing that as long as the vaccine is floating around and it could get people infected. We're going to continue to max out all that we can to protect everybody. So I don't think it's any different than it was. Okay, so the
vaccines last year.
No, I know we should be better off. It shouldn't be harder. We should be better off. The vaccinations should only help us. So. But we're not going to lessen our concern as long as there's a vulnerability for anybody that's on our club, and we have ways that we'll have to do that. The vaccination situation for us only helps us, and the thing that we do know is that guys aren't going to don't get sick even if they do get infected, like happened with the Yankees. The guys were all asymptomatic and for the most part, and that's what it looks like we can count on from the information. That's why the CDC just said you can take your masks off, because we have enough information. They've got enough statistics to back that up, and it's taken all this time to get there. So I think we're just going to be smarter, and I think we should only be better. Right? I don't think it should be any different than it was last year.
Thanks.
Okay, couple more. Bob?
Yeah, Pete, just wanted to ask about a couple of guys. Connor Weddington, a local guy, just the first initial impression of him, and then Jake Curhan as well. It sounded like he was a guy who maybe could have been drafted, but he had a medical issue that sort of crept up, I guess, late in the thing.
You said who was that? The last was Curhan? Yeah. Well, first off, Connor was a guy I was really excited about when we got into the free agency thing, because of his background being from the area and all of that. He's a versatile athlete. I think he went to Stanford as a running back, and then went to receiver and was going to go back. He had that flexibility. He's built well, strong kid, really bright kid. He was really excited to have the chance to play here, and play in front of people that he knows and a team that he loves and all of that. So I was excited to help make that happen. So we look forward to him, the versatility he brings. Looks like a good, strong kid. Did a nice job out here in the first couple of days. And then we're talking about Jay Curhan, the Redwood Giant, right? On to victory.
Bob,
you know what high school he went to?
He went to Cal.
Yeah, he went to Cal. He went to Redwood High School, Bob. You should know that already.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. We haven't sung the fight song together yet, but maybe we'll get a chance to do that before long. Jake had a back issue that he was dealing with, and he's done well here in the 2 days, but we'll have to take care of him and look after him throughout the process, because it has been something he's dealt with over time. But we felt like we could manage it, and that's what we're trying to do now. He's off to a good start. He kind of has that special kind of spirit about him, He's kind of that competitiveness, I don't know, just. See, Art, we went to the same high school, Art. That's what I'm trying to get across to you.
Chris Francis.
Thanks, Dave. Coach, you mentioned that it's time for the rookies to learn and stuff. It's obviously time for your whole offense to relearn things. I'm trying to gauge how difficult Shane's offense is to learn. I don't want to say simplistic, but I'm guessing it's not an Al Saunders type 700 playbook.
I'd be careful with that evaluation. I don't know why you would know that. It isn't. It's very intricate and very precise, and that's not the right way to describe it. No, it's beautifully thought out. It's got such a complimentary makeup to it. That's why I fell in love with what he was bringing. It really makes sense. It's really smart. Our guys have to really work hard at the discipline to execute it in the right manner. There's a lot of terminology. It won't look as much different as it sounds to us, because the system that we're putting in to make sure that we can utilize all of the variations and the complements that are packed in here. So. It's not a simple offense at all, and I wouldn't give Al that much credit either.
Okay, thank you. We've got Trey Brown coming up.
Good. See ya.